Welcome back to episode 2 of the Why the Fuck Did I Build This podcast? I'm your host, Andrew.
And I'm Corey.
And we are two entrepreneur, dad, homeowner, dog owners that are just here riffing about life. If you don't want to hear anything we have to say, just scroll away now. But we're going to talk for the next 20 or 30 minutes about shit that's on our mind, tell you what we're thinking. As usual, we'd love to hear your comments about it. So shoot us an email, leave a comment. We appreciate all the viewers. But yeah, man, I mean, let's.
I think the idea for this episode is if you watch this, so if you want to start a business, or maybe you have started a business, this episode is either going to push you off the fence one way or the other.
Yeah.
Either it's going to make you realize that starting a business is a shitty fucking idea and maybe it's not for you, or it's going to give you enough courage to kind of do whatever you need to do to get started.
Take those first steps and
for better or worse.
And just get moving on it. So yeah,
and it's not going to be clean. I feel like I see all these videos where it's the 10 steps to do XYZ, and it's no.
Yeah, there is no blueprint. There is no plan. Your best laid plans are going to go to shit, and no matter what you do, it's going to be a shit show. That's my 2 cents, right? I always tell people, I use it as I've been telling Corey for years, but anytime I do a talk or anytime I'm talking to somebody, my litmus test is they're like, oh, what's your best advice? And it's don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it. Don't quit your day job. Don't start a business. You're gonna fail. It's the hardest thing you're ever going to do in your life, aside from, having kids or something. But, so the witness test aspect of it is that if all it takes is some asshole like me to kick you off the fence one way or another on your dream,
then you don't have what it takes.
You don't have what it takes, right? Because people are going to tell you no, you're going to get knocked down, beat up, rolled over. It's going to be a slog. And if you don't have the wherewithal to be fuck that guy, I can do it. And then I'm all right, cool, let's go. I'll help you all you want. But if you're oh, well, I guess I maybe shouldn't, then you definitely don't do it. That's my best piece of advice. I feel I've given that so many times, and that's going to be in my memoir. It's my whole, this is my contribution to this,
I do think an important thing, and I feel we've talked about this before, is it's kind of starting a business is kind of your buddy's band, right?
Yeah.
It's you're gonna have support.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom's gonna love it. Your buddies are gonna, it's you're gonna have people around you, not necessarily that they're sycophants, but it's they're gonna hype you up,
right?
Whether or not it's good,
right.
I've had buddies bands that have been awesome. I've had buddies bands that sucks. I've still gone to all their shows.
Oh, for sure.
Any business that I've started, everybody was this is such a cool idea, and it's was it?
But all of that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I think the overarching question that a lot of people don't ask themselves is are strangers going to pay me money for this, right? Are strangers going to buy the ticket for my band? Are they going to come to the farmer's market and give me money for my salsa? Or is it just all lip service from family and friends who are they're it's great. You got to be able to sell it to another human being who you don't know, right?
Somebody who doesn't know you has to be fuck yeah, this.
But objectively, this is good, and I'm going to give you money for it.
Yeah.
That's how business works, right? If I'm not mistaken, I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless something's changed, but I think that's the biggest thing, right? So if you are going to start and you're hell bent on starting your hot sauce company or your popcorn company, or you're going to make some salsa, I think baby steps is the way to go, because again, unless you're, some Silicon Valley, millionaire that sold one of your companies and you want to start a, free range dog treat company, and you have, millions of dollars and backers and stuff that.
You need a way to lose a bunch of money for tax purposes.
Exactly. Yeah. Then this is not that, right? But if you can make a couple dozen jars of salsa and go to the farmer's market and test it out, step one, right? That's the easiest way to kind of pressure test your product and see.
And I feel that kind of rolls into this, I feel in the businessy world, there's this thing about minimum viable product and everything else, which is great. I'm not saying that's bad advice, but I think a lot people get paralyzed from starting because they they expect that if they're going to go with the hot sauce company, it's like, they're like, well, if I have a hot sauce company, I need real bottles and real labels in a real kitchen in a real store. And it's like, no, maybe it's just like,
you don't need any of that.
Maybe it's just like an Instagram, and like, you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to show up to this brewery. I got 100 bottles of hot sauce, like, and
sell them out of the trunk of your car in the parking lot, right?
Like, it's, you know,
I mean, those are the best stories, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like, and I think, I mean, hell, these days, like, you don't even need a product, I don't think, to even get started, right?
Yeah.
Test a theory on social media, create a page, become a like your own brand ambassador, right? Promote your expertise in this area. If you're talking about, you know, making salsas, like give people some lessons, show people how to do it, create some fun flavors, build like a brand and a presence. That way, when you do actually go to launch your brand, then you have like a built-in customer base, you have support, you have a platform to kind of put it out there. I mean, you can do that for free, right? That doesn't cost anything. So,
well, yeah. And I feel like, because everything we do in like our kind of day-to-day life, we're wrapped up in like CPG stuff, which is, you know, consumer packaged goods, because we make Toffee, right? So it's like, there's so many other product businesses. You could make widgets for machines or tractors or whatever, or service-based businesses. And then it's like, you just need, you know, like, say you're like, oh, I want to start my own car detailing business, but I don't have a space. I don't have $5,000 for equipment. I don't know how much it costs. So don't come at us for like,
right.
They're like $5,000 is going to cost $50,000, whatever it is like, go live.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, detail your own car, do it, or like,
exactly.
be like tips and tricks. Like, hey, like, you know, you go, you know, you're going to walk into AutoZone and there's going to be the orange bottle of this and whatever. And it's like, I like to use this, but I only like to use it on like silver cars or like, everybody has knowledge.
Work on building your brand.
Exactly.
And then provide value to people, and like the customers will come. I think that's like, it's almost like the customers like an afterthought at this point in time. We didn't have that when I was starting the Toffee company. We didn't have social media like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, right? I sound old. It's like, oh, in my day, we used to walk uphill both ways to school, but like, we really didn't have that as like a marketing platform. So now that it's kind of come of age and people are using it as such, like, it's so valuable to have that brand like that it built out before you even start, and then from there you can leverage that expertise into sales. And that's you know, I think I would highly suggest doing that, because if you can't talk about your product and you can't sell your product and you can't provide that value to people, then, you know, your product's only going to go so far, and this might not be the thing for you. I think that a lot of times, again, people get caught up and they're like, I make a really good salsa. Well, it's like, yeah, but can you sell the salsa to a stranger? Yeah. Does the salsa sell itself to a stranger? Right. Cause like, you know, a lot of times you're not there on a shelf to be able to like talk about it to people. So like all of that stuff goes into play. And I don't think that a lot of people think about that. So it's good to test before you get started.
I'm going to piggyback on that too, because the salsa thing is, so everybody thinks, I mean, at least our experience in food, right, is like, your white whale is like the Albertsons, the Krogers, the Whole Foods, the Costco, and, you know, things like that, where it's like, nobody realizes how big of an actual business you need to be to like do a Costco run.
Oh yeah. It's not.
And so there's people that we know that make a really good living where they're basically hustlers.
Sure.
They have their farmers markets that they do. They don't really have a whole lot of employees. They're kind of doing everything themselves.
Yeah.
And they've kept it like nice and tight. They have a direct relationship. They have a ton of repeat business. And it's like, I don't want to call it a lifestyle business because it's a lot of work and early mornings and everything else. But like, you don't have to build out to go into like the grocery store
10,000 stores or something like that. Yeah, you can sell.
You don't have to do Amazon.
I was going to say you could sell a couple dozen cases each weekend at the farmers market, and if the margin's right, like, hey, you're good to go. And if you enjoy it, like, that's me. You know, start there and kind of grow, because you might find that you're doing $2 or $3 million in sales and you're making the same amount of money as you were when you were selling 30 cases a weekend at the farmer's market.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that's the realistic thing. You just have a ton more problems. The bills have more zeros on the end. You've got more people, you know, that you're responsible for like payroll, for insurance, for all of that stuff. And, you know, maybe a small hobby business isn't the worst thing, because I mean, I've seen I've seen people that like go and sell chips and salsa and stuff like that at the farmer's market, and they sustain their lifestyle. And then I've seen people that, you know, have a 10,000 square foot facility and do $3 million a year in business, and they make the same amount of money as the guy selling, you know, 50 cases a weekend. So
yep.
I guess you choose your path, you know. Like, you know, my dad he was a firefighter, and he liked to cook and to bake. Anybody who has any firefighters in their family knows what I'm talking about. You know, those guys are all great cooks, and you got to cook for 20, 25 people in an engine house. Like it's, you know, you get good at it real quick. But my dad loved to bake. He started making the toffee. He would give it out to family and friends around the holidays. And, people started calling the house and asking for a dozen jars at a time. And, you know, I guess our pressure testing was like, he started going to like holiday markets around the holidays, and he would sell it. And I think he started selling it for like, you know, he was selling it at one point for like the giant 32 ounce, like mason jars of it for like $10, you know, and like this was back when shit was even way cheaper, right? Like this was 15, almost 20 years ago. And he still did the math one day, and he's like, I think I'm losing money every time. I don't know. I was like, yeah, no shit, you know, like, so we had to kind of retool some stuff. But yeah, we had the proof of concept because he would go to these shows and people would buy it. You know, they would taste it. He would hand out samples. He'd make people taste it, and then they bought it. So we knew that we had a product that people wanted. So we got to kind of like, I got to skip that step, but I don't think that anybody should, because again, your wife, your brother, your, you know, aunt, your like best friend, like they're all going to tell you like, oh yeah, I love your stuff. And like, they may be right. It might be good, but like, you have to have that proof that like people are going to pay you money for it, right? Ask someone to pay you money, right? Like it's like, hey, my tub of salsa is $7. And if they're like, well, I don't know, like maybe your salsa's not that good, you know, like, so, and again, you're going to hear no more often than you hear yes in any business. So get used to it if they don't like it, but at least you have like a real, like, you know, point to start from.
Were you surprised when you did start?
It is funny because a lot of the times like strangers are going to pay you for it or whatever. All your family's going to want the shit for free. They're going to be like, and you're going to be like, no, I'm running a business here. This isn't a fucking charity, you know, like I gotta like, but you do feel bad, like charging your friends and family and stuff like that, but you get used to it. And it's like, no, man, I paid money for this. Like, if you want to support me, like everybody always wants a discount and stuff like that. And I think like those are like the worst friends, honestly. Like if I'm supporting my friend's business, like I want to support your business. Yeah. I don't want a discount. Like I want to pay full price because like I believe in what you're doing and I think it's a good product and I want you to get, you know, like to make a go at it. So no, it is funny because you are surprised. Like everybody's like, well, can I get a discount? And you're just like, no, like fuck off.
You're like, I didn't get a discount. Paying the employees to make this. Right? I didn't get a discount buying all the ingredients.
You don't know what you don't know. And you're going to end up learning something new every day. If you're not prepared to like take that journey and learn something new every day and make the mistakes and get better, then again, I just go back to like my previous point of like, just don't do it, because like it's not, it doesn't matter how tight up your like business plan is or how much funding you have or like how great your product is or how cutesy your label or packaging is. Like, there's gonna be areas of all of these things. You're gonna wear all the hats at first, and you're gonna have to learn all of the things that you might not be interested in. You might hate it, but like you've got to learn, you know, like how to, like you've got to learn food safety, you've got to learn packaging, you've got to learn logistics and fulfillment and like all of this stuff. So you don't know what you don't know, and it's a learning curve, and it's huge. That would be the best piece of advice that I have for somebody. So like I would consider like my first customer was a grocery store by where I grew up, and my dad had they've been shopping there. My parents have been shopping there for decades, and they had the toffee. They loved it. When I said like, hey, I'm going to start selling it in stores, like I went up there and I talked to the guy and I was like, hey, and I mean, we were making it in our home kitchen, and there was no such thing as like cottage food law or anything. So it was just like, we just made labels and printed them off the computer, and they like gave me a chance. They like put it on the shelves. They bought like a dozen jars. I went there to the store. I would like go do like a demo, right? Which is where like you set up and you hand out samples, and then like people grab it and then they go up to the register and sell it. And like we sold a bunch, and since so they bought more. And then so I went to their other location and they put it in there. And then we just kind of like kept going. And then I was like, well, this is working. Let's go to more stores. And so, yeah, once you have proof of concept, then you can take it and you can be like, well, these guys over here are selling it. And they're like, okay, well, we'll try it. But then, yeah, you're bouncing from store to store, doing these demos, handing out samples. And again, you're building up that customer base. And so if you can own your backyard and you can make it so that you've got these repeat customers, they know your product, you're building a brand, you're providing value to people. That's the best way to start. Like, you don't want to start making, like, again, we'll keep using salsa, but you don't want to start making salsa and then get a contract with Kroger and then shit the bed and not be able to fulfill the order. And then all of a sudden Kroger's like, well, we can't trust this guy to like produce the product. So just start small, take baby steps, keep learning, make the mistakes while you're small, right? Like, I mean, I think that's the most valuable lesson you can learn is like, make the mistakes while you're small so that they don't have so many zeros on the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've made way too many mistakes once we've gotten way too big that I'm like, oh, fuck, like that's going to hurt, you know, like, and we do it every day, every week, every month. Like, we're going to keep doing it because, again, I don't know everything. I don't want to say I'm not an expert. Like, I'm not, you know, I haven't sold a business for, you know, $50 million or anything like that, but I've run a business for long enough where I know a lot of what not to do. So, you know, if you take any of it, my advice and it helps, then I feel like I'm providing some value for people in this podcast. That's where I'm at.
Well, can you speak to if you make more expensive? And I think that's what people don't understand.
Right.
Is like the bottom line is big.
Sure.
And so, did you stick with shelf and in store? Pull that and just focus on the website.
Yeah.
Why do it better?
Well, I think like when COVID hit, you know, that was a big like eye opener for us because we realized that like our business and all of the revenue that we were generating depended on, you know, these stores that we were buying from and these distributors who were distributing to these stores. And so if stores shut down and everybody was forced to stay at home, it was like, well, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to sell our product? I mean, we had orders canceled. Like, we had, you know, other companies that like went out of business and went bankrupt. And, you know, we lost money because we had shipped to them like a couple weeks earlier and they couldn't pay. So like, it was a huge hit to us. And it was an eye opener because I think we started saying like, all right, the only way for us to generate revenue is our website because we can still ship stuff and we can still like, you know, make stuff, but like there's no stores that are buying anything because they don't know when they're going to be able to reopen, do anything. So we started making fun flavors. We would come out with like a new fun flavor every week. We would print labels like off the computer again, like kind of like took it back to basics and started selling that like experience on our website and started promoting that on social media. And that's when it just kind of, you know, everybody's staying at home, just scrolling through social media during COVID. It was like, well, this is the perfect opportunity, right? It's like advertising's cheap. Like, we can make content, we can take nice pictures. We've got a camera. Like, let's have some fun. We make candy for a living. You know, we're not, our product is not like a better for you health necessity. Like, we're never going to be that product that like you need to have to like make your life better. I mean, I hope our candy makes people's lives like incrementally better, but like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not like a Vital Proteins, like, you know, like where it's like, oh, this
supplement stack.
This collagen packet is going to make your, you know, stomach lining better or something. I don't know. Like, we're candy, right? But so we have fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously. But yeah, we saw the opportunity to sell direct to consumer. And I guess with food products, I think everybody wants to be on the shelves of like a Kroger or Whole Foods or Albertsons or whatever, because that's like sexy, right? It's like, oh, you're in Whole Foods. It's like, well, yeah, but then there you got to use a distributor. You make the least amount of money. Everybody makes money on your product except for you. You know, you got other people handling your product, shipping it. You don't have full control over how it's, you know, how it's put on the shelf, displayed, marketed, anything like that. Whereas like with direct to consumer, we found that we could kind of control the whole process, and we made the most amount of money doing it. We're getting the freshest product directly to the customer. We control their entire experience or have a hand in it, and we can be the best version of ourselves. So we started to go down that path, and we kind of really haven't looked back since. So and the bonus that, you know, we didn't really think about when we did start this was that once you develop that brand recognition at a base level of like a direct to consumer level, then the stores want you, and then you have like leverage and negotiating power. So then you can in turn, you know, if they come to you with some bullshit deal that doesn't work for you, you can either, you know, leverage it into something better, or just walk away and just say like, hey, it's not for us, like kick rocks, you know, like, and it's not, this isn't going to work. And you're not, because I do remember a time when we were smaller where we would take every piece of business. The terms were dictated by like the distributor or the store or the brokers. And a lot of times we didn't even make any money, but we were like, well, we need to do it because we need to keep people busy and we need the volume, and like, we'll make it up in volume later as they like start selling more. And then we can kind of like go back and renegotiate it. And it's like, fuck that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these stores and stuff, like they make enough money. They're going to nickel and dime you until you bleed, until you're bled dry. And guess what? They'll toss you aside for the next salsa company, because there's always another one. There's always somebody standing there willing to sell it to them cheaper, willing to take your place. They've got cutesy labels too. And you like build something. If you're going to build a business in food, build it for yourself. Start with direct to consumer and like own that. And then from there, you've got a little bit of leverage. I guess that would be like, as I'm talking through it in my head, this is real time me realizing like, yeah, that does sound good, Andrew. You're doing a good job. Like here, this is valuable information for people. So yeah.
Well, Corey, talk to me. Were you there for a little bit? Were you in business?
Well, so kind of, sort of. So, I mean, obviously, like Andrew and I have been friends for 20 years, worked in the same restaurant together. You know, I was in his wedding. We've done trips together. It's like we've been around for a while. When I moved back to Michigan, we started a different business together. He was already running Dave's Sweet Tooth, and so we started a subscription box for like all Michigan made foods. And so ever since that point, we've kind of always been kind of like linked, because we were doing that. We have since shut that down.
Yeah, you've seen it. You've seen everything being built from the beginning. Like, I wouldn't say you were.
I've been around since the beginning. And then we had another business together that was in food. It was the same people, the same friends, the same whatever. We worked out of the same warehouse for you know, a long time. And then so I've always been around. And then so when he was like, hey man, this is what I need, I was like, all right, well, fuck it. Yeah. Let's rock and roll. And there was no onboarding, because I already fucking knew everything.
Yeah. That was the easiest part, was that, yeah, Corey could just hit the ground running, because he knew the history, he knew the lore, he knew like the brand image, like the brand voice. And so, it made it easy for sure.
I feel like social media has kind of always been like a D2C channel for the most part. So that, like, doing marketing for that is kind of, I don't want to say it's all the same, but like it's basically all the same. And then, you know, the like B2B stuff is pretty industry dependent on how it's ran. You know, because again, these people get hit up by everybody on the planet who's making salsa,
exactly.
Right? You know, so it's like, there's certain channels, there's like a right way to do it that people there's like all these weird unspoken rules. That's
way more PC than like D2C. D2C, like, and especially again with our brand, we can do whatever we want. You know, I've got to follow rules, like if I'm gonna like B2B like market people. So we haven't really focused a lot of our efforts on that. It's always like our marketing efforts have really been on like direct to consumer. So going to stores or trade shows and stuff like that has been like the you know, walking in there and just shaking hands and being a real person has been the way that we've marketed to actual stores. Right.
Actually helped to actually show that we are people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I think nowadays, you know, is people are kind of like starved for authenticity. And we've just been marketed to by people cajoling us and manipulating us, frankly, through ads, right? You know, you have like the, and this is going to be a bad example, but like the Sarah McLachlan, you know, it's like, okay, well, fuck, I need to give these people money because I love dogs, and here's dogs that are dying, and it's Sarah McLachlan. This is such a sad song. It's like, okay, it's like playing on emotion, but it's like that's what Taco Bell does. That's what, you know, that's everybody else. You know, do you want to have the best sleep of your life ever?
Yeah.
Like
drink this and you'll be skinny, you know,
drink
it's
sleep
like
juice or whatever. So it's like, everybody's always like, you know, it's this, we're going to fix your problems. This is the silver bullet.
Yeah.
You know,
you never see the people behind the brand though. You never see the story, you know, like with a small business like ours, I think like our advantage is that like we can tell the story, but not in a lame, like, oh, well, I just decided to make this because like I had headaches or something like that. Like not just like the story, but like see the like you're growing with us. Like we're on camera, we're talking about what we're doing every day. Like we're, you know, sharing like our experiences, and we're all kind of like growing together as a community. Like we've got a great community of people that we've kind of built on TikTok, and they get to like check in with us every day and talk to us in real time. And like, we're telling them like what we did that day and like what's new, what's coming up. We're coming up with like flavor ideas and stuff. And so they're like, it's almost like an interactive experience of like being involved in a growing business. And I think that's fun for people. Like, it's just different, right? You don't get that with like a Hershey's or a Nestle or like Pepsi or something like that.
Yeah. And I think, I feel like the content game has shifted where it was, you know, in the Instagram era, everybody was trying to do this like aesthetic lifestyle like type of stuff, and which is beautiful and it's nice, but now I feel like people, it's like they want conversations, and they want like a little bit of like a dose of reality, and you know, and the peek behind the scenes too. I feel like, you know, there's so many companies that I buy from because I just like somehow personally associate with like either how the brand is like written or who owns the brand, or, you know, whatever. It's like it's a very weird thing. And now with screens just like being how they are, I think that's the flip is like 15 years ago, like, you know, it's like we were still touching grass.
I was going to say, if you were like a celebrity owner of a brand, then you were like Emerald or something like that, right? Like where you were like an actual celebrity. Now it's like you can be a figure, like a public figure. And like, you know, I always joke with my wife that we're like E-list celebrities on TikTok, right? But like we have like, I mean, there's 300,000 people that follow us, our brand, and they tune in to like watch me and you just shoot the shit like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And we make toffee, you know, so it's like, if we can do it, then like you can do it too, you know, but it's fucking hard, you know, like that's the, you know, we do it every night, and we're there. We spend a lot of time, and it didn't happen overnight. I mean, we've been doing this on TikTok we've built that for over 2 years, you know, so, and we've tried and tried things that worked, that didn't work. You know, finally found our niche, and like, that's where we kind of really started to take off. But, you know, what we do might not be the blueprint for everybody, but you know, try different things, you know, but I guess being authentic and being real, and like sharing your journey and your story with people in a sense that like they can feel involved in it more so than just like having a product is, I think, the best piece of advice that you can have. And
I feel like somebody told me like a long time ago about like I don't know, there's some quote, and it's basically like, you're the only person who's going to remember all your losses.
Yeah.
Most people are only going to remember your wins.
100%.
And so the idea of like testing different stuff or trying to see what works is like, you're going to be scared to do it, or you're going to be super self-critical. But like, you know, if you try to start a TikTok page of this, or you try to start a car detailing business or whatever it is, and it fails, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, no one cares. Yeah.
Nobody, like 10 years down the line, if you're, you know, you own your own accounting firm, you're going to be like, were you that one guy whose car detailership failed or whatever? And it's like, no, nobody
cares.
You know? So I feel like you really need to get the fear out of it and just try different shit, and find your voice, find your niche, find, you know, like all this other stuff. And then it'll kind of like just end up working, or it won't.
Kind of like this podcast. It's going to either end up working or it won't. So
I think what would be fucking hilarious is like, what if we just did so many podcasts and the podcast never took off.
Yeah. We're just
But then it's like, they're like, oh, these guys have like millions of views on TikTok and they're doing this and they're doing that. And then like 5 years down the line, they're going to be like, wait, you guys have a podcast?
Yeah, we never posted the videos. We never started. We never edited them up, So yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I think that's a good place to leave episode 2 here. I think if you guys want us to talk about anything specific, like leave it in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you guys. We're gonna start having special guests on soon. Maybe redo this shithole and make it like a little bit nicer once we get a couple of those ad dollars in the door,
or we just keep it. It's
or we just keep it. And maybe this is the aesthetic.
Another mediocre white guy podcast.
Another mediocre white guy. And that's that'll wrap it up here for the Why the Fuck Did I Build This podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. As always, don't be an asshole, and we'll see you next time.